Council meeting to order. And before we move on to tonight's agenda items, I do want to acknowledge that in 2021, we will still be using a remote meeting format for a little while longer. On March 6th, I issued an emergency proclamation declaring a civil emergency in the city due to the COVID-19 outbreak. On March 24th, the governor issued Proclamation 20-28 relating to the COVID-19 emergency and public meetings. The proclamation has been extended through January 19th. And due to these proclamations, tonight's meeting will be held entirely remotely. The meeting will be recorded, streamed live, and available for later viewing on the city's YouTube channel. A call-in number was provided on the meeting agenda for members of the public who wish to call in by phone, to listen live to the meeting, or to make comments. And for those members of the public on the call, welcome this evening. Due to some questions that were raised by council and community members regarding consent calendar item F, AB 8087, property acquisition for Sammamish Plateau Access Road Water System Project, the administration would like to postpone this item to the January 19th City Council meeting so that the requested information can be provided. Is there any objection, and I do have the chat open right now, to postponing AB 8087 to the January 19th Council meeting? If so, please indicate in the chat. Seeing none, item F has been removed from the consent calendar this evening and will be considered at the January 19th Council meeting instead. At this point, we'll take a moment to take the roll call of the council members in attendance, so please stay here when I call your name. Councilmember DiMichele?
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodman?
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Hall?
Here.
Thank you. Council President Hunt?
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Mertz?
Here.
Thank you. Deputy Council President Ray?
Here.
And Councilmember Walsh?
Here.
Welcome to 2021. All 7 council members are here this evening. The next item on the agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you could all please keep your microphone muted, I do welcome you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda this evening is a matter of special business. It is ID 0789 and the Association of Washington Cities Retro Refund Appreciation. So I would like to invite HR Director Stephanie Johnson to introduce this item. Stephanie.
Thank you, Mayor Polly. Hello, council members. Happy New Year. I have the privilege this evening of introducing Peter King, the CEO of the Association of Washington Cities. You may recall that pre-COVID, about this time last year, was the last time the Association of Washington Cities came out and gave a presentation to us on part of our retro pool refund that we were eligible for workers' compensation claim activity in 2016. Just a refresher reminder to council that we pool with other jurisdictions as a part of AWC's workers' compensation retro program. When we pool with other jurisdictions for the workers' compensation, we take some risks as part of a bigger pool that can yield into rewards. If at the end of an adjustment period, group losses are less than premium, the city can earn a refund on the premiums they paid to the Department of Labor and Industries. So we got notice this year again that we were eligible for a refund from the adjustment period of 2017. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Peter King, CEO of the AWC, to give the presentation.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you. I'm here with my colleagues, Carol Wilmus, who directs all of our member pooling programs, and Brian Bishop, who handles and manages our retro program. So got about 4 slides. Just wanted to quickly, I'm really here to congratulate you again this year for the excellent work that the city has done in loss control and managing workers' compensation. The tagline for this particular program at AWC is every employee home safe every night. And that is our goal of the program. And I have to say the city of Issaquah has done a terrific job which is reflected in the experience from the 2017 year. We could move to the next slide. In Stephanie's memo in the packet dated the 21st really does a great summary of where we've been and what the program is all about. So I won't repeat that, but I just do want to mention, if we could go back to the prior slide, thank you. A little bit of history. The program started in 2014 and the program has done refunds of about $6.8 million to the participating cities since it was started in 2014. Issaquah has been, in 2004. Issaquah has been a member since 2004. This closing year of 2017, I guess this is the part of the COVID thing where we're going to try to see if we can keep up with the slide presentation. I'll just go ahead and work off my slides. I actually printed these out so that I had them. So we'll go from here. What we're talking about is the 2017 retro year. The 2017 year closed out. The pool as a group had good, very strong experience, and working with L&I, the refund that we were eligible to receive was about $2.3 million from the 69 members that were in the pool. So the governing body of the group, which is the AWC Executive Committee, determined that the program is financially secure to the point where they felt we could refund all of that $2.3 million out to the participating cities. So Issaquah's refund is just shy of $100,000. It's $99,512. I will have to say that it is in the top 5 of the participating entities in the program that got a refund during this year. So your refund is just shy of $100,000 closing out the 2017 year. So congratulations. Last year we were able to distribute 1.8 million. This year's it's 2.3, and we look forward to continued success. The program itself is all about the services. Really, we break that down into 2 areas: safety and compliance. So we, as AWC staff, provide training, safety audits. We have a work safe employer program. We assist you with OSHA reporting. And then we have claims management services where we have staff that work on your behalf. If you do have claims, we contact your workers who've been injured. We provide access to data on an ongoing basis so that you can track exactly how the city is doing. We also help with transitional and light duty transitional work to get employees back to work. And then in the event there are protests or appeals, we handle that on behalf of the city for different protests and appeals. So we really focus on the service to you and the other participating jurisdictions. The next slide, I just want to comment that safety does not happen by chance. So we really want to thank the employees for their safety efforts. You have a very active safety committee, which makes a real difference. And then also to thank Stephanie, Wally, you as a governing body, because it's clear that when management has a culture of safety and makes safety a priority and sets the tone for safety, it makes a difference for employee safety and also, in this case, financial benefit. But the key thing is, again, every employee home safe every night. So I'm really delighted to be able to be here and congratulate you for a job well done. And I hope to be here next year with similar news. Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie, did you have anything to add, or would you like me to thank our guests?
No, I think that's great. Thank you so much, Peter, Carol, Brian. Appreciate you so much. And I just, for the record, I'd like to also just thank the staff for the diligent efforts. This year is definitely, this is the workers' compensation side of the house, but we've done a lot in safety and all mechanisms this last year with COVID. And so just thank you to AWC and our staff as well.
I really appreciate the time that you have taken this evening to come and join us and share this message. I think it is fantastic that we can work as a region and use AWC to provide this program and we can participate. And glad to see that the work that the team is doing to really pay attention to safety on the job is paying off. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Stephanie. If we have not shared this in the Quantico, it would be a nice thing to share with all the employees. So thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all. The next item on the agenda this evening, as we do every January, is AB 8081. This is the election of Council President and Deputy Council President for the year 2021. So I'm going to go through a little bit of explanation on how the process works. In order to elect officers, I will first call for nominations. And when all nominations have been made, I will close the nominations. Council members will then be provided with an opportunity to discuss the nominees. I will then ask council members to cast votes on the nominees in the order they were nominated by a roll call vote. Council members may vote for only one nominee and may vote for themselves. The council member receiving the majority of the votes is declared council president. I'll then repeat this process for deputy council president. So we will start. Oh, any questions? I see there were a couple of comments in there, and sorry I missed that in the chat earlier. If you would like me to back up and it's comments about our first presentation, please feel free to go ahead. It looked like Councilmember Goodman and Councilmember Ray may have had something to say before election. Sorry about that.
Yes, Councilmember Goodman here. Thank you. I think our guests have left, but I think for the folks that are still around, any public members, and I just cannot tell you how nice it is to start off with a bit of wonderful news for our first meeting of 2021 after 2020. So I am thrilled that that's the kind of news that it is, financial news. And I'm just super happy that that was the first item on our agenda. So even though they're not all there, thank you. I guess they are. We've got Stephanie and Peter again. Thank you. That's just awesome. That was great news. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. Deputy Council President Ray, would you like to add?
Thank you, Mayor Polly. This is Chris Ray. I just wanted to add, well, really two things. One is the most important thing, and thank you, Stephanie, is that everybody is safe at the city of Issaquah. It is super great news to get the rebate on our insurance, but the most important thing is that we've created an environment where people are safe. And then the second thing is I'm really looking forward next year to seeing Peter and Brian and Carol again with the same sort of an update. And it just this, as Councilmember Goodman said, is a nice way to start the year. So thank you so much.
That is great. Thank you, Deputy Council President Ray. And I will keep my eye on the chat. I was moving a little quickly there. Do any council members have any questions about the process that we're going to go through for our first nomination, which is for council president? And if so, please indicate in the chat box for me. Okay, so then we will begin the nominations for council president. Are there any nominations? And if so, could you indicate in the chat and I will call on you. Council Member DeMichelle.
Thank you, Mayor Polly. I would like to nominate Councilmember Hunt as president of the council.
Thank you, Councilmember DeMichelle. Are there any other nominations? I see Councilmember Mart was going to make a comment, and it's fine. I will give it a second to see if there are any other additional nominations. Seeing none, the nominations are closed. Is there any discussion? And maybe I will start with Councilmember DeMichelle.
Thank you. I was off. I was not muted, and so I was looking for my unmute. I think that 2020 was an extraordinary year, and we had extraordinary leadership to match the year. And I also think that it was probably a year where an incoming council president and deputy president as well may not have been able to complete the agenda that they may have walked in with in January of 2020. And I think that it would be really appropriate to, if we have a more sane, more more normal year, appropriate to allow our leadership to continue so that they can perhaps complete what the agendas that they started out with a year ago. So I'm very happy to nominate Councilmember Hunt for a second term as our council president.
Thank you, Councilmember DiMichele. I will check in the chat to see if there is anyone else that would like to comment. And if not, I will move to the vote. If there is no further discussion, we'll now vote on whether or not to elect Councilmember Hunt as the 2021 Council President. And Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Council President Hunt. Aye. Councilmember Martz,
Aye.
Deputy Council President Ray,
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh,
Aye.
Councilmember DiMichele,
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, City Clerk. That passes unanimously, and Councilmember Hunt is elected for 2021 as Council President of the Issaquah City Council. Congratulations. We'll now move to nominations for the Deputy Council President, and I will look in the chat. I see Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Goodman here. I would like to nominate Councilmember Ray as Deputy Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will look in the chat to see if there are any additional nominations for Deputy Council President. I am not seeing any, therefore nominations are closed. Councilmember Goodman, would you like to provide any comment on the nomination?
Just briefly, I think for the same reasons that Councilmember DiMichele raised, that I'm quite sure that there are items that both Council President Hunt and current Deputy Council President Ray would like to work on this year that they didn't get to in 2020 for lots of very good reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking in the chat to see if anybody else would like to make a comment, and if not, I will move on to the vote. Seeing no further discussion, the council will now vote on whether to elect Councilmember Ray as the 2021 Deputy Council President. And City Clerk, can you call the roll call vote?
Council President Hunt. Aye. Councilmember Martz,
Aye.
Councilmember Ray,
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh,
Aye.
Councilmember DiMichele,
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Some drama.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, City Clerk. That passes unanimously. Congratulations as well, Deputy Council President Ray. And if we were all in chambers, it means we wouldn't have to play changing chairs right now either, which is a ceremony we usually go through on election night. So congratulations. Our leadership team for this year will be Council President Hunt and Deputy Council President Ray. The next item on our agenda this evening is audience comments. And for those of you who have submitted the online form to make comments, your name will be called shortly. For those of you who may have joined us tonight and would like to make comments but did not have a chance to sign up in advance, please press *3 on your phone, and we will call the last 2 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to make comments. City Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak this evening or indicated a desire to speak this evening?
Yes.
Thank you. For those making comments, I want to make sure to remind you that you direct your comments to the whole council and not individuals. And while this isn't a question and answer session, we will contact you to follow up if needed. When you are recognized, please unmute your microphone, state your name, address, relationship to the city, speak clearly and pause frequently, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And when you are done, please remute your microphone. If you do not respond after your name or phone number is called, or if your connection is lost unexpectedly, the meeting will still need to proceed, and you are encouraged to rejoin the meeting if you're able to. Personal attacks, obscene language, derogatory remarks, and disruptive behavior are not permitted. And citizen comments, written and verbal, are an important aspect of the public process. The city takes comments seriously, and we thank you for taking the time to come here tonight and address us. City Clerk, can you please identify the first person who signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, and before I do, a reminder to the phone-in callers that I will request that you unmute. You'll need to press *6 on your phone, and then if you've muted your own phone, you'll need to unmute that as well. The first caller is Corby Kassler. Corby, I'm requesting you unmute now.
Hi, everyone. As we mentioned, my name is Corby Kassler. I'm Executive Director of the Downtown Issaquah Association. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm really looking forward to working with you. I think 2020, as we all know, was a tough year where we surmounted a lot of obstacles working together. So I do want to echo that we saw extraordinary leadership during this really trying time. So your partnership is very much appreciated. Second, I wanted to let you know that the Downtown Issaquah Association plans to reprise the streetery this year. By most accounts, it was a real success in helping with foot traffic for our businesses and diners who otherwise would have just stayed home. We'd love to have your feedback on this. I have a lot of feedback from businesses and restaurants, and we do want to make improvements this year. So any feedback you have or any way we can just help out from your perspective, please let me know. We'd love to improve it as make it as best as possible. And our intent is to open it Memorial Weekend, and would love to keep this as a standing program. So thank you for all you do for Downtown Issaquah, and I hope to meet you all in person in 2021. Thank you very much.
Mayor Polly, you're muted.
Dang it. Okay, Corby, thank you for your comments. We are definitely going to be having conversations this year about that very, very popular program, and Downtown Issaquah Association, the City of Issaquah, volunteers, all those that were involved. There's a lot, and the restaurants and the businesses and the retailers. So there's a lot to figure out, and congratulations on a very, very successful summer and fall last year. City Clerk, is there anyone else ready to sign up this evening, or ready to speak this evening?
No one further signed up to speak, and it doesn't look like we have any members of the public on the call this evening other than Corby.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in, Corby. I was going to switch over now to Council President Hunt and see if there were any emails to summarize about topics that are on this evening's agenda. Council President Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So during the time of virtual meetings, we are summarizing email comments that we receive on any topics that are specifically on tonight's agenda. And we did receive several emails on AB 8087, which was the property acquisition for Sammamish Plateau Access Road Spar Water System Project. But as that item will be rescheduled, I can summarize those comments when it comes back to council. And that concludes the summary of emails on topics for this evening.
Thank you, Council President. The next item business this evening is committee and regional reports. While we have been on a little bit of a hiatus, this may be a rather short section, but let's try anyway. Councilmember Hall, any regional reports?
Thanks, Mayor Polly. This is Councilmember Hall here. Just to announce upcoming meetings. The next meeting of the Cascade Water Alliance Board of Directors will be Wednesday, January 27th at 3:30. I don't have an agenda for this meeting yet, but I should by our next regularly scheduled city council meeting, so stay tuned for that. And then the next meeting of the King County Affordable Housing Committee of the Growth Management Planning Council will be Friday, January 29th at 11 a.m. I don't have an agenda for this either, but as Deputy Council President Ray alluded last year in December, it'll likely be a longer work session on the housing chapter of the countywide planning policy, so we can begin to send our feedback to him and the other members of the Growth Management Planning Council. So if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to chat. Otherwise, that concludes my report, Mayor Polly.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Councilmember DiMichele?
Thank you, Mayor Polly. I did attend a couple of mid-December meetings. I attended the East Side Transportation Partnership on December 15th, and the group passed the 2021 legislative priorities. and those will be conveyed to all of our Eastside legislators. On December 16th, I attended the Eastside Human Services Forum meeting. It was a busy meeting. We elected new board members, approved a new mission statement, approved the organizational restructure, elected new officers, and adopted the 2021 budget and 2021 legislative priorities. The new officers for the group are Al Smith from Perkins Coie Law Firm, Amy Falcone from the Kirkland City Council, and Paul Lawally, the CEO of Friends of Youth. I am also happy to report that I've been selected as a member of the new Connect to Connect Advisory Board, which is authorized under the umbrella of Healthier Here, which is another group that I sit on as an alternate. The advisory board will be reviewing steps toward creating a community information exchange virtual platform blending physical and behavioral health reports. It's a major project of the Medicaid Transformation Project, and I will be serving as the suburban government representative. And our first orientation is January the 28th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember DeMichelle. Councilmember Walsh?
Thank you. This is Councilmember Walsh, and I get to be very short because all of my meetings got canceled in December, and so I have no report. Thank you.
Good for you. Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Goodman here. Eastside Fire and Rescue's Board of Directors met on December 10th, and I wanted to report out a couple of things. You will recall that prior to that meeting, at good of the order, we discussed the topic of the Board of Directors considering creating a fund to subsidize the private ambulance service AMR if Eastside Fire was not available to transport patients who are transported to hospitals who have a hardship and cannot afford the transportation fees may be granted a waiver per Eastside Fire's policy. And so we were talking about that policy consideration. And at the meeting, we were told that AMR has a similar policy for hardship waivers, so there is no need to set up a fund for subsidizing those types of transport fees. There was also a question about Eastside Fire's policy and the means test, and the means test is 100% of the federal policy level. I also wanted to report out that, 100% of the federal policy level. We heard at our meeting also that about to date, as of December 10th, about half of Eastside Fire's workforce had been in quarantine at some point in the few weeks prior to that, and at least 10 had tested positive for COVID. Eastside Fire is doing an interesting pilot test of rapid testing of workers before they start their shifts. They have about 75% compliance with that pilot program for rapid testing. Those employees come in about a half an hour early before their shift. They're paid overtime for that time. And then if there is a reason to do so, they are sent for full-blown testing. The point is to keep the workers out of the station who get a positive rapid test result. Eastside Fire has also been doing some tracing, and the majority of the contacts are from off-duty activities, not for calls for service. And it's possible that the rapid test pilot could expand county-wide. I also wanted to report that the board unanimously approved a 6% bonus for the chief based on his work as an outstanding chief and partner. His contract does not provide for raises, so this is the only opportunity for some sort of an additional amount of money. And anyway, the board unanimously approved that. Eastside Fire Board is scheduled to meet again on January 14th, and I do not have an agenda yet, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman, and thank you for the COVID update. Very interesting. Councilmember Martz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is Councilmember Martz. The Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee will be meeting next Wednesday, January 13th from 7 till 9, and we are actually going to do something different this meeting. Normally, there is a separate orientation for regional board boards and committees. And everyone who sits on a regional board and committee gets to drive down to SeaTac. Usually it's pouring rain because it's January, and then get free food and go through the duties and factors consideration for being on a regional board and committee. However, we're going to be combining that with our January PIC meeting. So what's going to happen is the first half of the meeting will be devoted to our usual PIC meeting. The second half will be focused on issues we see on the horizon for 2021. This is kind of exciting because previous regional board and committee training can be a little, if you've done it before, you kind of know what you're doing, but this one's going to be a little bit different. So all 2021 SCA regional board and committee appointees should plan on attending this meeting in addition to PIC members. So you'll get to sit through a bit of PIC meeting and see myself and Councilmember DeMichelle as alternate and other PIC business. But then at the orientation, we're actually going to talk about major initiatives that will be coming up in 2021. And I think this will be really helpful to anybody who's on a board or committee. So we're going to be talking about the Clean Water Plan. There's going to be Metro policy updates. We're going to talk about the renewal of the Best Starts for Kids levy, which is extremely important for human services. Updates for countywide planning policies, CPPs. Reform of the sheriff appointment, affordable housing and homelessness, regional local infrastructure, and economic recovery. So I am really excited about this orientation and hope everyone who is on a regional board or committee will be available. That again is next Wednesday, January 13th from 7 till 9. If you're on a regional board or committee, you should have an invite, but if you don't, please let me know, and I will make sure that FCA forwards that information on to you. Also, PSRC Growth Management Planning Policy Board, is meeting this Thursday from 10 till noon. We're going to, the Puget Sound Partnership is going to talk about the health of Puget Sound and actions for its recovery. We're going to get a briefing on PSRC's Stormwater Parks project. We're going to talk about the growth target guidance to support work by cities and counties to implement the Division 2050 regional growth strategy. We're going to be issuing a recommendation on certifying the Tukwila South Center Plan and North Tukwila Manufacturing Industrial Center. And last but certainly not least, recommendations on extending the conditional certification of Black Diamond's comprehensive plan until June 30th, 2021. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Deputy Council President Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Pauly. This is Chris Ray. Just very briefly, the King County Growth Management Planning Council will have a work session on January 27th, and we will be reviewing draft changes to the county planning policies. And that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you very much. Council President Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is Council President Hunt. On December 17th, the King Conservation District Advisory Committee met, and the King Conservation District is a natural resource agency. They help community members across King County with native plants and invasive species management and things like that. So for any community members who are interested in those sorts of services, I encourage you to check out their website. And we as a committee chose a chair and a vice chair. Brenda Fincher will serve as the chair and Mike Lufkin will serve as the vice chair. We also heard an update on the financial situation of the King Conservation District, and we will get more information on that at the next meeting of the advisory committee as well. And the advisory committee also heard about the upcoming search for a new executive director that the King Conservation District will be undergoing shortly. In addition to that, we heard about a lot of the different projects that are going on within the King Conservation District and how they're adapting to COVID-19. And the next meeting of the King Conservation District Advisory Committee will be on February 9th. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Council President Hunt. Next item on the agenda this evening is the Mayor's report. First up, executive session. There will not be an executive session held this evening. Next item I wanted to talk about was Issaquah's Vaccine Community Partnership. So today I'm excited to announce the formation of an Issaquah Vaccine Community Partnership that will focus on COVID-19 vaccine distribution in our city. The COVID-19 vaccine was recently authorized for emergency use by the Food and Drug Administration and started to arrive in Washington state last month. It is currently offered to specific groups at highest risk, such as workers in healthcare and people in nursing homes and other long-term care facilities. Meanwhile, when the vaccine is more widely available, healthcare clinics, pharmacies, and drive-throughs and walk-through clinics will likely provide the vaccinations. The new Issaquah Vaccine Community Partnership will ensure that we have close coordination with public health, Seattle, and King County on vaccine distribution, and we will have clear and concise communication within our community. Situational awareness with our community partners, including first responders, pharmacies, healthcare providers, and senior care facilities, and more on availability and demand. I've started recruiting community partners for this advisory team, which will join the Issaquah Recovery Task Force during its next virtual meeting at 4 p.m. on January 14th. This is an exciting moment as we've all been waiting a very long time for the COVID-19 vaccine. With the advice and leadership of this partnership, I look forward to safe, equitable, and timely vaccinations in Issaquah. For those that are watching, if you would like to learn more about the COVID-19 response, please go to our city webpage at issaquahwa.gov/COVID-19. And that concludes the mayor's report. The next item on our agenda this evening, just going to make sure I'm keeping my eye on the chat, is the consent calendar. And the consent calendar was distributed to council in advance. And if authorized, the items on this calendar will be approved with just a single motion. So due to the action taken earlier in the meeting this evening, item F, AB 8087, property acquisition for Spanish Plateau Access Road Water System Project, has been removed from the consent calendar and it will be considered at the January 19th council meeting. Have the payables and payroll been reviewed?
They have.
Yes, they have.
Thank you both. Does any council member desire to remove any items from the consent calendar and consider it under regular business? Okay. Seeing none, I would like to look for a motion, and I'll go to Council President Hunt.
Thank you. This is Council President Hunt. I move to approve the consent calendar as amended.
Thank you. And Deputy Council President Ray?
This is Chris Ray. I'll second the motion.
That's great. And I will go to the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Starting with Councilmember Martz.
Aye.
Deputy Council President Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh.
Aye.
Councilmember DeMichelle.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Council President Hunt.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. The next item on a normal agenda would be regular business, but this is the first week in January, and we have not got any regular business items on tonight's agenda. So let's move on to good of the order, and I will look at the chat to see if any council members have anything to add for good of the order. Okay, before I go to the upcoming council meetings, our city administrator has been here the entire time and has not had an opportunity at all to greet the council. So I will give City Administrator Bob Kowitz a minute or two for a quick update or even just a quick hello.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, thank you. Happy New Year. Let me just reinforce the mayor's comments regarding the community vaccine partnership. Really important. There's lots going on in the community on this issue. The Eastside Fire and Rescue has devoted a battalion chief to focus on this. They have all been offered, all members of Eastside Fire and Rescue, the vaccine, and so they're moving forward with that. The next group of individuals hopefully will include our police officers and the folks that work in the Issaquah jail. So we're working very closely there. We've been in touch with the Issaquah School District. They are in the process of offering some of their facilities to be used as centers for the vaccine to be distributed. So they are beginning to hear back from the state and King County about the use of those facilities. So that's very exciting. And we are also reaching out to all of the pharmacies, the national pharmacies here in Issaquah, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Bartell's, the ones that are at the grocery stores, Safeway, and Fred Meyer, to understand where they're all at. So we'll be convening all those folks together and coming back to the City Council with an update in the coming weeks. So a lot is happening. We want to be very aggressive in making sure that Issaquah residents, when it is their time to receive the vaccine, have easy access. The U.S. Conference of Mayors held a meeting just before Christmas, and there's a lot of concern throughout the country about communities really having to step up and be very vocal to make sure that their residents, first responders, get the vaccine as they need. For those of you who've been following press reports, it's very much a mixed bag around the country on how that is happening. Some communities have seniors waiting overnight to get vaccines, and that's certainly not the plan here in Washington State. But again, with Mayor Pauly's direction, we're going to be very vigilant to make sure that when Issaquah resident is eligible to receive the vaccine, that they'll have easy access to it. So thank you very much. Again, Happy New Year.
It is a Happy New Year. Thank you very much, City Administrator Bobkowitz. I'm just going to run through a couple of the upcoming meetings so that folks have a heads up on what we might be discussing in the next few weeks. There's a council study session on Tuesday, January 12th, and the potential agenda items for that include the Old Town sub-area architectural standards for residential, the 2018 building code update, 2018 fire code update, and a discussion on electrical vehicle charging. City Council regular meeting of Tuesday, January 19th has some potential agenda items, which include the 2018 building code update, the 2018 fire code update, and the property acquisition for Spanish Plateau Access Road Water System Project. So last couple of items here. There is no executive session this evening, and there being no further business, I am gaveling this meeting closed and adjourned at 7:42. Welcome back. I'm glad this wasn't a backbreaker tonight, and looking forward to a fantastic 2021. Good night, all.